I heard a story recently about a seller in full panic mode. She let the buyer move into her house before closing, but then the buyer backed out. The place was trashed, and now she was out thousands trying to clean up the mess and relist her home. And the worst part, her agent told her a pre occupancy agreement was normal. Right now, there are plenty of places across the US where it's either a buyer's market or a balanced market, and buyers are walking in like they've got all the power. But here's the truth: selling your home is still a business decision, not a people pleasing contest. And there are moments in this process where the smartest move you can make is to say no. So, in this video, I am breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes sellers make by being too agreeable, and how saying no at the right time can save you stress, money, and a ton of regret. Number one on the list: letting the buyer move in before closing. Let me be super clear right out of the gate. Letting a buyer move into your home before closing is one of the riskiest things that you can agree to when selling. I don't care how nice they seem or how close you are to the finish line, until that deal is closed and funded, you are still the legal owner. I've only been a part of this one time in my entire career, and I've been part of hundreds of deals. I was the buyer's agent, and it was a literal emergency. We were doing the final walkthrough on closing day, and we walked into the basement, and it looked more like a swimming pool. A busted pipe had flooded the entire basement. The sellers needed time to clean it up, and my buyers had just 2 days left before they were out of their old home. But here's the thing: my buyers were all in. They put down additional earnest money equal to their down payment and closing costs to show that they weren't walking away, and that's the only reason that it happened. I still don't recommend it, even in cases like that, but I was the buyer's agent, and in that case, it was my job to look out for my clients. Because here's what usually happens in most other cases: the buyer moves in, something goes sideways, maybe financing falls through, or they find a house that they like better, and then suddenly they want to renegotiate. And now you've got someone living in your house who hasn't bought it. And good luck getting them out quickly, and good luck on keeping your leverage. Unless it's a worst case scenario and the buyer is putting serious money on the line to back it up, say no. This isn't being difficult, it's being smart. You're not running a rental, you're selling a house. Treat it like a business deal, because it is. Number two you need to say no to is assignable offers. Have you ever seen those ads on YouTube or on the internet where someone's like, you can make 6 figures flipping homes with no money, no license, and no experience? Yeah, those folks are almost always teaching people how to wholesale real estate. And if you're selling your home, that's something you need to know about and how to spot it, because it could cost you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's how it works: a wholesaler makes you an assignable offer. That means they're not really buying your house, they're just trying to put it under contract. And then they are turning around trying to sell your house to someone else at a higher price before closing with you. They never fix it up, they never put in any money, they never actually intend to own the home. And the worst part, you walk away with less than what your house is worth because you sold to a middleman instead of the real buyer. Now, if you really need to sell fast, I get it. Times are tough right now, but even then, you don't need a wholesaler to do that. You can drop your price to be more aggressive, stay in control, and attract the same buyers the wholesaler would have gotten without giving away your equity to someone else. Look, I had to go to school, pass a test, get licensed, and I am bound by a legal duty by my state to protect my clients' best interests. Wholesalers in most states, they don't have any of that. No license, no responsibility, no duty to you at all. There's no value added, just a profit grab. It's predatory, in my opinion. So when someone comes at you with an assignable offer, say no. Keep your money, your control, and your peace of mind. Now, before we keep going, if you're even thinking about selling and want to walk away with the most money possible, do yourself a favor and grab my free seller playbook. It's packed with tons of tips and helpful information from pricing smart to negotiating strong, and it's designed to help you sell with confidence, not confusion. Whether you're listing next month or next year, this guide is a game changer. Check it out. The link is in the description. For number three, let's talk about the inspection report and the trap sellers fall into when they try to be too accommodating because they don't want the deal to fall through. It's really common. The buyers send over a list of repairs, and you think, all right, let's just knock it all out so we don't lose the deal. But here's where that can backfire big time. What if you agree to fix something, but the buyer isn't happy with how it's done? Maybe it's not done exactly to their expectations. Maybe the contractor cut a corner. Maybe the buyer's dad walks through and says, well, I would have done it differently. Now, you've already paid for it, and they're asking you to pay again or bring in someone else to do it their way. You now lost control of the money and the timeline. So here is a better option: get a quote for the repair and offer to credit that amount toward their closing costs. You're still meeting them in the middle. They feel taken care of, but now they get to choose the contractor, the timing, and you don't have to come out of pocket before closing. And bonus, you avoid that awkward walkthrough surprise where the buyer nitpicks repairs the day before closing. Everybody wins, and you get to the closing table without worrying if they like your handyman work. In this case, saying no to doing the repair doesn't mean saying no to being fair. It means saying yes to a smarter, more flexible way to keep the deal moving. Moving along to number four, skipping professional photography. If photos didn't matter, Instagram wouldn't have filters. And yet, every day I see homes listed with blurry cell phone shots, weird lighting, and crooked angles. The truth is, your online photos are your home's first showing. That's where buyers fall in love or swipe right past it. If the lighting is bad, the rooms look small, or the colors are off, guess what? They're not even booking a showing. Now, I get it. Maybe your home is already gorgeous, but great photos don't just capture how your home looks, they guide how people feel when they see it. Professional real estate photographers know how to frame a space, light it properly, and make it scroll stopping. And we're not talking about spending thousands. For a few $100 that your agent should be spending, you can literally add thousands to your bottom line. Now, even if your agent says, don't worry, I've got a team photographer, or we use a professional, don't just take their word for it. Ask to see photos from their past listings. What you want to know is what to expect, because sometimes that photographer is really just their cousin or their assistant or someone who thinks taking a photo at an angle that looks like they were laying on the floor is somehow artistic. Lighting matters, composition matters, centering the shot matters. A true professional knows how to make your home look open, bright, welcoming, and not like a sketchy Craigslist ad. So before you list, look at their previous listings and make sure those photos make you want to move into those homes. If they don't, say no and interview more agents. And number five on the list, you don't just want to list your home, you want to launch it. The first week on the market is your biggest window of opportunity. That's when the most eyes are on your listing, the most urgency is in the air, and the best chance you have of creating competition. But if you overprice your home just to see what happens is nothing. Every week you sit on the market, buyers start wondering what's wrong with it. The longer it lingers, the less urgency they feel, and the more desperate you start to look. So, no matter what price your agent recommends or what Zillow says, ask to see why. Not just the number, I mean the data behind it. Ask for the comps, ask for the market analysis, ask to see how that price compares to similar homes that actually sold, not just what's sitting on the market hoping to get lucky. Because here's the truth, there are agents out there who will tell you whatever they need to say just to get the listing, including pricing it way too high. Now, if your home is super desirable and likely to get a ton of interest, sure, price right but aggressive, and that's okay. But you've got to have a plan B already in place. If you get crickets that first weekend, adjust quickly. Because in this market, the longer you wait, the more you lose. So price smart, launch strong, and don't let a bad strategy steal your momentum. So, if you're selling your home and someone suggests letting the buyer move in early, skipping professional photos, or pricing way too high just to see what happens, don't do it. Just say no. If it doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, or doesn't serve you as a seller, no. You're not being difficult, you're protecting one of your biggest investments. I'm Ben Dings, and I'll see you next time.